So my big question that I'd have for you, and kind of breaking down on why this is such a fallacy, is how can you possibly have discipline, which is consistent actions with consistent choices and consistent decisions, when you have an inconsistent identity and you have an inconsistent roadmap? Better yet, no roadmap and no clue who you are. How can you possibly have the outcome of something that is so guided, so trained, and so corrected when you have no course, when you don't even know what you're operating with?
You like this, right? You like being daddy's arms with microphones. You like being a worker. You're made for the camera. Both my boys are.
Hey, this video you are about to watch is a part of a series where I show you how to quit porn the right way. So do yourself a favor, binge on all of this content, all the videos that you possibly can, because who knows, maybe if the value and the trust is built together over this journey, you'll want to jump into a community that I call Fit for Family. Or maybe you think these videos suck, and that's also fair too. But nonetheless, there's only one way for us to find out. So enough of me, let's get back to serving you and let's get back to the video. Okay, one tactic a lot of people talk about when trying to quit porn is the role of discipline. You hear it as a buzzword. You just need to be more disciplined. You honestly just need to have more discipline in your life. I'm lacking discipline. If you had discipline, you wouldn't have fallen, you wouldn't have failed. And I think a lot of people will see this from like an ultra masculine point of view. Maybe like you think of a reel on social media and you're like, you just need discipline. And people are like, rah, rah, rah. Okay. The last thing I want to do is set you up for failure and tell you to do something that no one really knows how to carry out, because very few people even know how to define discipline and know what it is. So my goal is to do that with you and then help you see for yourself why discipline would not be actually the first place to start with trying to quit porn at all. I actually think that discipline is the last thing, but the other side of this is I don't think discipline is something to focus on. I think discipline ends up becoming a byproduct. Here's what I mean by that. When we look at discipline, okay, discipline is simply two things. Discipline is what happens. You get discipline created when you know who you are and you know where you're going, right? That's what happens. If you want to write that down, remember that, make that your little bumper sticker, that's what discipline is. People can make consistent actions, because the idea of discipline is to be guided, trained, and corrected. Okay, that's what it means in the Greek, is to be guided, trained, and corrected. And that you can be able to have consistent actions, making consistent decisions once you know who you are and where you're going. But most people, especially when we lack discipline, we have never settled these questions for ourselves. We don't know who we are, and we have no clue where we're going. So my big question that I'd have for you, and kind of breaking down on why this is such a fallacy, is how can you possibly have discipline, which is consistent actions with consistent choices and consistent decisions, when you have an inconsistent identity and you have an inconsistent roadmap? Better yet, no roadmap and no clue who you are. How can you possibly have the outcome of something that is so guided, so trained, and so corrected when you have no course, when you don't even know what you're operating with? Because when you think of the idea of being guided, of being trained, and of being corrected, like think of, let's just say, like river rafting, okay, or kayaking or something. When you are going down the river and you are being guided, maybe you have someone with you and you're being trained, and maybe they're like, hey, don't go to the left, go to the right, and you are being corrected, then you can have discipline. Go this way, go that way. Why? Because you have somebody helping you understand where you're going. That's a compass, that's a North Star, that's a map, that's a roadmap, that's a vision, a bigger purpose for where you're headed, okay? And then you have the who you are. In this scenario, you're the kayak, right? So you have the medium, you know what you are, you're the kayaker going down the river, and then you have the idea of where you're headed. And then you can have the discipline. So if your trainer says to you, hey, do not go on any of these, black routes, they're going to be labeled, I want you to stick with the green, you're novice. You can have the discipline to stick to the green routes because you understand where you're going and you understand what your role is and who you are. But so many people will jump to the conclusion of saying, I need discipline in order to quit porn. But I'm like, okay, if you fail to ask yourself and understand the answers to who you are and where you're going, you're never going to be able to get anywhere. How can we possibly, again, create consistent actions with consistent decisions, consistent choices, and be guided and be trained and be corrected when we have no vision absolutely no direction. We have no clue where we're going, and we have no clue who we are. You're not going to get that. When you have an inconsistent identity with an inconsistent vision, you are going to have inconsistent discipline, inconsistent choices. So a lot of people are upset and they're like, oh, I just lack discipline. And it's a buzzword. We all say it, but no one really knows what it means. And I more or less want people to get connected to the root reasons that are preventing them from having consistency in their life. Because if you knew who you are and you had consistency in your identity and in your roadmap and where you believed you were heading with God, then you would be able to walk out the choices that you need to. A lot of people feel way too much shame that they're like, I'm just lacking discipline, I'm lacking motivation, I'm lacking willpower, I'm lacking grit, I'm lacking self-effort, it's just not working, I just need more of it. And as if we're trying to push them in a direction that they don't know where they're really headed. And that's the difficult part of it, is you can say, well, I want to be disciplined to quit porn. But it's like, okay, well, what's your roadmap, right? What's your roadmap? Where are you going? Where are your guided steps? Where is your actual path to success from this? And then the other portion of that is massively like, who do you believe that you are? Because if you really knew who you were, you wouldn't be going to porn as a choice. That's also a fair fact. So hopefully this helps you understand more about what discipline is and what it isn't. That discipline is the byproduct of knowing you and your vision, not the other way around. You won't create your sense of self and your vision by being disciplined. It happens at the end. It's an after the fact. And that's why I say it's the last step. And to help give this a bit more permission for you to understand that and to feel clarity and permission to go that way, I've been porn-free 11 years. I have never once tried to be disciplined, but I've been emphatic on understanding who I am and where I'm headed. So if you're here, that means that this process is going to help you understand a bit more of who you are and where you're headed is through this program and on to the next video. So I love you tons, man. I believe in you. You're doing amazing. Keep doing the work, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hey, real quick, if you like that video that you just saw, or if you want to see even better videos than this in a series that I made called Annihilate Porn to help guys or girls like you quit porn, you can subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't forget any alerts, comment, like, all that jazz, and more importantly, check out the next video that's going to take you even further on the journey from where you are to where you want to be. I love you tons. I'll catch you in the next one.